Hello and welcome to Tarrasque Me Anything, the D&D podcast that is really just an excuse for tax write-off on dice. My name is Will McAfee, also known as the Arcade Wizard, and always I am joined by my good friend Ale. Ale, how are you doing today?
I am not full of bees, but I should be.
That's always a good thing. I wasn't expecting you to say, but I should be, but I guess I should have. Not the bees.
All the bees.
Good. Excellent.
It should be nothing but bees.
Anyway.
Specifically, our patented displacer bees.
Yes, displacer bees. We have a patent for that now?
I don't know. Probably.
Probably
not.
I think technically we have copyright, but not a trademark. Yeah, unless someone has thought of displacer bees before. Anyway,
most likely.
Regardless, I do apologize if that intro was a little rusty. As you all have probably noticed, we haven't done this in a while, and there's multiple reasons for that. First and foremost, I am becoming a dad, so that's been taking up a lot of my time, preparation for the little guy coming, and lots of OB appointments and figuring shit out. And it's way more than you think, and going forward, probably this won't be so frequent, but we're going to do our best to keep doing it, because I have a lot of fun doing this, right?
I do too.
Yeah. And the other main thing was there was a lot of controversy in the D&D community a few months ago over the open game license and what was going on with that. And there was a point where a lot of creators didn't want to do anything that supported D&D whatsoever. And now we've kind of like recoiled from that. I don't think anyone's forgotten about it, but I don't think they care as much, which, you know.
Oh, don't worry. They managed to do something else that irritates everybody.
What happened?
Well, they raised the price of all their books by $10.
Ah, yes. Yes. But anyway, that does kind of lead me into what we were going to talk about. I know you are familiar with D&D Shorts on YouTube, but for the audience that may not know of him, he does YouTube Shorts and TikToks as well as some full-length videos. But he is a British man that yells at you really fast about how to upgrade your gameplay style.
And has a glorious beard.
Oh, he certainly does. He absolutely does. We love a good beard. But yeah, he's the ultimate min-maxer. So if you're into that, absolutely check him out on YouTube. Although I don't know how you've heard of us and not him.
That would be very strange.
Indeed, it would. So anyway, he had a recent video where he has predicted the end of D&D, and it culminates in Critical Role releasing their own D20 system called Daggerheart.
They're coming out with two, actually.
I know, but one's a D6 system, isn't it?
I don't know. I didn't even know they were coming out with two. All I heard about was Daggerheart, and I heard that from you.
Right. Well, Daggerheart would be the D&D equivalent. And in his video, he basically suggests that on their show in particular, it would be wise of them to switch to Daggerheart. And they're one of the reasons that D&D has had such a resurgence, as well as like all the other live play communities, but mostly Critical Role. And they have a huge fan base, huge support, numbers to back it up, and he thinks a lot of people will move on to Daggerheart. Now, personally, I don't believe that's going to happen. I do believe a lot of people will try it. I do believe a lot of people will play it. But it's kind of like 4th edition. No one liked 4th edition. It didn't stop them from playing D&D. They just kept playing 3.5. And I think we'll see a similar thing with 5th edition if 1 D&D is absolute trash. But it did get me thinking, hey, there are so many other games that you can actually play. I've played a couple. I think you've played a couple of different ones. So we wanted to do like a little series going into all these D&D alternatives, having some guests on that have played before. Yeah, like Pathfinder, Pathfinder 2, World of
Have
Darkness,
we
Vampire
ever
Masquerade.
met anyone that's played Pathfinder 2?
I'd love to find out. Everyone talks about Pathfinder 2. I've never met a single person that's played Pathfinder 2. You know, because 5th edition was coming out and I moved from Pathfinder to 5th edition. Um, and then Pathfinder was like, yeah, or Paizo, their publisher, was like, yeah, Pathfinder 2, check this out, guys. And I was like, nah, I'm not learning another thing, you know? But those are the big ones. There's so many like smaller ones too. Like I was looking at a game system recently called Numenera. That was really cool. I know there's some like cyberpunk ones. Not saying that that's a little one, by no stretch of the imagination. There's Shadowrun. So we were thinking about doing a little series, just going in, exploring these other games. If we can, maybe do a one shot in each of them, so we have that firsthand experience. But definitely getting people who have played them on the show. There's another one. So I have a friend, my brother actually, who's going to come on for the Pathfinder one. He's been playing Pathfinder for years. When everyone else switched to 5th edition, he said, nope, we're fucking sticking with Pathfinder. But he has a friend who played the Legend of the Five Rings RPG. Have you ever heard of that?
Never heard that either. No.
I was aware of Legend of the Five Rings as a card game. One of the most complicated card games I'd ever seen, but it was a lot of fun. And there's lots of clans. It's kind of like Dynasty Warriors, but in RPG form. So there's like the Crane clan and the Mantis clan, and each of them have like different ideal and like that kind of thing. And you can play like warriors, people of the courts, or like spellcasters. And it looks like a lot of fun. So I'd love to have him on and talk about that too.
I've never played Dynasty Warriors either. So.
You never played Dynasty Warriors either?
No, I've also never played Kingdom Hearts.
Dude, what are you doing? What are you doing? Well,
not having fun.
I think you have an idea of what Kingdom Hearts is. Dynasty Warriors is basically like you go through feudal Japan or China. Specifically, the games I played were Japan, and you go around as like fucking Nobunaga Oda, and you just wreck face. You just kill hordes of nameless, faceless peons in your conquest for domination, and it's a magnificently fun game. You should try it. You should try it. It's a lot of fun. It's like an old PS2 game. Yeah. So there is that. I also think going forward, first of all, though, before I get into other stuff we're doing, back on the subject of D&D shorts, I do have to talk about this here because we spent an entire episode building up this monk. We were trying to min-max a monk that could run as fast as possible. And then in like a 10-second short, he blew it out of the water. And you actually sent this to me. Do you remember what all was in it?
Nope, not a clue.
Great.
Honestly, I forgot about it.
I thought you would say that. That's why I wrote it down. So, Tabaxi, right? Nailed that. Then he says only 10 levels of monk. 5 in elk barbarian, because they run a little faster than normal barbarians. 2 in blade singer. 1 because at level 2 you add 10 to your movement, and then also because you're going to take some spells like Longstrider, and his goal here is to cast them yourself instead of having someone cast them on you. You take the mobile feat, and then he says 2 artifacts with a major speed boon, which I'm not sure exactly what that means, but sure, we'll add that in there.
I don't know what that means.
Me either, but yeah, let's throw that in there. Transmuter Stone, Shadowland Stride, level up to get the Boon of Speed, like we had said, Feline Agility, Potion of Speed, which just gives you haste, Boots of Speed, And then I thought this was really clever. 2 levels of fighter, because that gives you an action surge. And then 1 level of the wild magic sorcerer. And then he says, have someone punch you. Right? So then you get your movement, your action, your bonus action, your hasted action, your action surge. And then he says, run into someone's fist, cast shield as a reaction, and then specifically roll 81 on the wild magic table, which gives you another action, and use that to dash again. And he came up to a grand total of 1,008 miles per hour, which handily breaks the sound barrier, which is only 767 miles per hour. So I don't remember what our total goal was, but I'm pretty sure it was in the hundreds.
Yeah, but how many feet per round is that?
Yeah, let me check here. Okay, so it's a grand total of 8,880 feet per second in one round.
Good Lord.
That's atrocious. And man,
absolutely nothing could outrun you ever.
Nope. And it, like, I have to remember, like, he sits down, he thinks of this, he writes out a script. But when we sit here, we spend an hour on it, and he just comes in like 10 seconds. Like, come on, dude, come on.
But also, we don't know how much research he's putting into that beforehand. We're just getting the short.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm sure he puts in a lot of effort to actually figure that out. Anyway, I did have to mention that before we move too far away. One of the other things I want to do with this podcast is kind of go through some DM tips that will mostly focus on Dungeons and Dragons. But if there's any games anyone's interested when we do our little mini series about D&D alternatives, if we want to get into that, we certainly can. I want to touch on some virtual tabletops, because there's a lot of those, certainly, and D&D Direct has published that they're putting out a D&D virtual tabletop, and I think that's kind of interesting.
Which I am kind of interested in.
Yeah, I like the integration a lot, and I wonder if it's going to take over because everyone with a D&D Beyond account can just import all their stuff, you know?
I mean, that would be quite helpful for me.
Right, and honestly, like, Roll20, I have a love-hate relationship with. It
forces you to use certain browsers.
Yes, and I also don't like the idea of buying books twice. Like, I hate that.
That's why I couldn't start on the Foundry thing. Even though it's really cool, I don't want to buy everything I already have twice.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's, I'm a big fan of freemium. Like, I own these books. I'm just going to get the information and I'm going to brute force it in there. But if this connects directly to D&D Beyond, then you don't need to do all that, which I think is really nice. Was there any things you wanted to maybe do on the channel?
I never really give it that much thought. I kind of just talk about what pops into my head.
I know.
I'm much more of a player than I am a DM.
Yeah, no worries. Well, I think when we have some of the guests on too, that'll kind of help add a direction to this. We are also working on a menagerie of fun, different creatures that might be fun to have in a game.
They're definitely stupid homers, and I love them.
Yeah, that's a good topic too. Like homebrew stuff versus official stuff, and making your homebrews balanced. That's something I'd love to talk about.
Right. Though I kind of do have an idea for sort of a homebrew setting, Simply because of that one picture I sent you earlier of the giant book.
Oh yeah, lay it on me. What you
It
got?
it just makes me want to make basically a Monster Hunter setting.
Yeah, well, and I think we'll get into that, but I think there's actually an RPG that's already a Monster Hunter setting, like Wildlands or something. I think it's called.
Mm.
I would have to check. But that's the thing. There's so much stuff in there, that people don't play. How do you know? But I do think that's a
Right.
really cool idea. And I was playing a West Marches style game a while
I've
ago.
never played those.
Oh, Beast World.
I haven't done much. I'm quite sheltered. I didn't even play 3.5 of
I
D&D Beyond
I know.
or D&D.
I know. Oh, and for the audience that don't know, West Marches is a game style that's massive, right? You will probably have multiple DMs and you have uh, tens of players, and you kind of all agree on a time to meet. And there's a quest you do for a session. It's basically like a series of one shots, and you don't have to play every week, or you could play every week, and that kind of depends on your progression and what you have available, and the world kind of moves around without you. And yeah, I was playing this West Marches style game, and it was kind of like uh, civilizing a new frontier. And we went to this foreign land, and everything was unexplored, and we kind of had to build the town as we were going too. So anything we
Which is pretty
killed,
cool.
yeah, no, it was super cool. I had a lot of fun. But we had one guy trying to DM it, and he couldn't handle running 7 games a week, basically. Which, of course, that's insane. Yeah, that's nuts.
It's a bit much.
Yeah, a little bit. But yeah, so anytime we would like kill a monster or something like that, there'd be specific quests that are like, hey, we're trying to do this thing, kill this monster to help. But also, like any random encounters, we would literally harvest the monster for things that would be useful. And he had all these kind of survival harvesting rules set up. So, like, you could remove poison bladders from poisonous things and like make antidotes out of them. You could use like teeth from something to like help build cobblestone pathways or till the earth or make rakes or some bullshit. I don't exactly remember, but it was a lot of fun. It really was. Yeah, shout out Taylor. Great game, dude. Sorry. Shit happens.
Yeah. No, that sounds fun. I definitely love scavenging mechanics. It's partially why lizard folk are one of my favorite races to play.
Yeah. Not just to be an asshole.
But no, why? What do you mean?
Because lizard folk specifically have that thing in their race description where it's like alien brain. You don't really
that
interact with things.
That's now considered part of their legacy lore.
Oh, excuse
me. That is
me.
no longer their canon lore since of Mordenkainen's Monsters of the Multiverse.
Oh, excuse me. All right, let's see.
That's also what got rid of the whole Kenku can only copy people's speech.
I like that a lot. I like that Kenku could only copy speech. I thought it was fun way before Critical Role did it, and even after. I think that's the Kenku are a cursed race. Why are they just talking normal? I like that they mimicked. I think there's a lot of cool stuff you could do with that. Yeah, I don't know.
It's still up there.
Yeah, let me find this. Yeah, alien minds, lizard folk, reptilians nature comes through not only in their appearance, but also in how they think and act. Lizard folk experience a more limited emotional life than other humans. Like most reptiles, their feelings largely revolve around fear, aggression, and pleasure. And the issue with this sentence and the sentences following that is a lot of players took that to be fuck you, I'm a weirdo. Or, yeah, fuck you, I'm going to eat your horse because my character would do that. And also, some of their other things are like cold and calculating, utility and survival, hapless soft ones. Like, everything in the lizard folk race is designed to be, as well, specifically referring to the original one I saw from Volo's Guides to Monsters. I cannot talk today. That sentence made sense, I'm sure. But specifically, everything in there is basically setting them up to be, hey, it's me and no one else. I'm prioritizing survival. I'll eat your leg if I'm going hungry, and a lot of players would really dive into that in a toxic kind of way.
I don't like doing the toxic, though. I just like them because I'm playing a mini Godzilla.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and you don't have to be toxic like that. You can play into that, and I think a lot of that info is mostly a suggestion. You can be whatever character you want. I mean, there's probably a reason you're a lizard folk that's not in a lizard folk tribe anymore. Yeah, I'm looking.
Oh, I've had ideas. And they are still messed up. Don't get me wrong. You always got to have something messed up.
Yeah.
Because I'm awful.
I'm looking at the Mordenkainen one, and literally all of that stuff is gone. It just kind of says like, hey, they come from, they're distant cousins of Dragonborn and Kobolds. Yeah.
I actually heard some really old Kobold lore, which I think I sent you.
That when they die, they have a chance to be reborn as dragons?
Yes.
Yes. Where did you send me that? I don't remember.
I don't remember.
Anyway.
It's on one of those things that lets me send messages,
One of those things. One of those many, many things.
Just one of those days.
Anyway, I do appreciate them, and with any book, I don't know how DMs have a choice. Like, personally, a lot of the time I'll do like Adventure League rules, which like, hey, you get the PHB +1, but if you want to do something specifically outside, you can come to me with that. So I like that they've put more race options in a new book, but also I don't know. I don't like that there's different versions of the same race. I don't know.
All I can really tell you is I am really looking forward to the fire dinosaur.
Yes, so tell us about the fire dinosaur.
Okay, I don't really know much about it, but from what I have seen, there is a dinosaur that is going to be in the new book that it's got some sort of elemental thing with it, so we're basically getting elemental creatures, a lot more of them, big ones, so basically Monster Hunter.
Yeah. And what is the new book called again? Bigby presents
Glory of the Giants.
Bigby presents Glory of the Giants. I think that sounds like a whole lot of fun, and I think we're overdue for some more giant stuff. I've actually been playing through Storm King's Thunder very slowly over the past couple years, and that's been a ton of fun. I really like a lot of the giant.
Some of the puzzles.
Yeah. This is another thing I want to talk about eventually on the podcast, which is like good trap design and like good dungeons. And so far everything's been fine. And please excuse me if I've talked about this on the podcast before. It's been months since we've recorded our last episode, so I really have no idea. But there's a point in Storm King's Thunder, spoiler alert, where you are in this cave. You're trying to get to the Oracle of the Giants to learn all this extra stuff. And there's basically a doorway, and the doorway's got several different runes on it. and in front of the door is a whole bunch of different statues, right? And each statue depicts a giant with a weapon. They have like a hill giant with a club, a fire giant with a sword, and there is a frost giant, and the frost giant is missing its axe. And you can find its axe in the kitchen. You have to fight some sort of centipede creature. I forget what they're called. Their name's impossible to pronounce, but it's like a fire centipede, and you kill it and you get the axe. And what do you think the resolution of that puzzle is? Just playing along with me for a second here, Al.
I don't remember.
Oh, well, just logically thinking, you would think, hey, this axe goes in that giant's hand, and then
yeah,
everything kind of works and glow. No. That does nothing. There are runes on the door, and you can hit the rune. Does nothing. The way this puzzle is solved is specifically the ice giant that you are with, because you get an ice giant companion that kind of helps you through a little bit. He specifically has to strike the ice giant rune, and he doesn't know this, and he doesn't tell you this. He doesn't help you out at all until your DM gets frustrated enough that you're not solving this puzzle, that there are literally no fucking clues to figure out, and it misleads you into thinking it's another thing. So eventually everyone's like, I don't fucking know. And they're like, okay, well, the ice giant tries this and it works. And it is the worst fucking puzzle I've ever seen in my life. And whoever wrote that, I'm sure you've put out great other stuff. I'm sure you were just having a bad day, but fuck you. And fuck whoever approved that. Just, what? Because you could hit the rune too. And if you hit the rune, nothing happens. The ice giant has to hit the rune, and then suddenly it glows, and then suddenly you can go into... And they set up this whole thing with the statues, and the ice giant's missing an axe, and you can find the axe and put it back, and it does nothing. Nothing. It's infuriating.
Yeah.
Anyway, I digress. So yeah. And I'm not saying I'm the best at puzzles. And I'm not saying I'm the best at making puzzles and coming up with things. Sometimes the best puzzle really is just putting your players in a room and saying, hey, figure that out, and just waiting till they come up with something clever. That's a totally fine puzzle. But this was a puzzle with a specific resolution, and I wasn't DMing this game, and I was like, why isn't this working, dude? I mean, I tried to identify and like so many things. And then eventually the DM just had to step in and be like, oh yeah, so I forget the giant's name, but the ice giant comes in and hits it and it works. I'm just like, are you fucking kidding me? We've been sitting here for 2 hours.
Oh boy.
Anyway, sorry. Still a little mad about that. I'm gonna try to rein that in. But right, yeah. So, definitely at some point, I do want to do an episode on trap design, or at least really good traps, maybe like source the community for puzzles they really like, that kind of thing. Maybe highlight some modules from DM's Guild that really do good puzzles or something like that, and kind of go through that. Because also, when you're a DM and you're reading this, and you can kind of read ahead and recognize that, hey, no one's gonna figure this out. Because if I were DMing that, the second they put that axe into the statue's hand, I would have been like, the thing fucking glows. You know? Let's not waste our time here. I have other shit to do. We need to get to the Oracle. We need to find the fucking conch of King Hecaton, and we need to get to the Storm Giant's court and like...
The magic conch.
Yeah, it's literally a magic conch. You blow into it like a horn. Wow.
What's your reward?
You get teleported? Oh, okay. The conch is its own reward. You didn't play video games as a kid. I didn't watch SpongeBob as a kid.
I didn't watch much SpongeBob as a kid either.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
I read a lot of books.
Good. Dragonlance?
No.
Well, I was mostly using that to try to transition into Dragonlance because I'm still a little triggered on the trap thing, and I kind of want to move on.
Oh.
So you're running a
I didn't know
Dragonlance.
they had a book.
You didn't know there were Dragonlance books?
I did not. I didn't know
What?
about D&D
What?
until I basically graduated high school.
My guy. Come on, man. Okay.
I know. I am just so ultimately disappointing.
Yeah. Well, I knew I was the veteran here, but I didn't realize how much of the veteran I was here. But yeah, Dragonlance, a whole series of books from like the 80s. We'll have to get Q on because he's also running a Dragonlance campaign, and I'm sure he would love to talk about that because I think that's been going pretty well.
I still haven't had more than one session.
That hurts my heart, dude.
I haven't been home.
That's true. That's true. Well, I think that kind of covers the basics where the show is kind of going to be going, and also please do not expect regular uploads, but we will try our best to at least be monthly. I mean, for Christ's sake. Hopefully going into this new series with all the D&D alternatives, we can kind of be more consistent with things. That will, of course, depend on scheduling and everything like that. There's also a ton to talk about with 1D&D. They released more classes, and everyone's hating on the Warlock for good reason. I don't know if you want to get into that today.
What did the Warlock do?
Well, basically, they removed everything that was good about the Warlock class. Like, it was its own unique thing in 5th edition, and now they've, instead of getting, like, 1 or 2 powerful spell slots that you upcast to, and getting spells back on a short rest, you actually have a spell table, which technically amounts to more spells per day, but they're so much weaker in general. Let me look it up real quick. Okay. So this is an article by Wargamer, posted by Matt Basil 7 days ago. 1D&D's overhaul of the Warlock class revealed in the playtest released in late April is one of the more controversial changes to the new D&D system so far. I don't know if I can just read this guy's words straight up, so that's why I said Matt Basil, wargamer.com. You guys can look up this article for yourself, and I will not read it verbatim. But according to Crawford, the 5e Warlock class was too constrained by the number of spell slots it had, and too reliant on the short rest. This would often lead to Warlock players getting out of sync with the rest of the party, and in fact not using any of their best 5e spells, in order to save them for later. How can we get the Warlock to be on a similar resource reacquisition schedule? Was what the designers were trying to figure out. Apparently, the difficulty came in removing the reliance on rest without making the class bonkers powerful. So basically, what they did was, instead of the Warlocks having this explosive upcasting potential power, they're basically just sorcerers.
That is so dumb.
Yeah, it's stupid. That's basically his whole article, too.
It's a really bad sorcerer that owes debts.
Well, yeah, and I'm sure you still get, like, your Eldritch Invocations. If you want to get into it, I can actually pull up 1D&D and we can really dig into it, but maybe next time. I'm not really prepared for that today. But yeah, it's not good. It's not good. And I was actually talking to Q about this, and he was like, yeah, they probably released it knowing it wasn't good, because there was like one guy who was like, oh, this is what we're doing, and they needed to prove that guy wrong. That's his theory anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. I'm looking forward to the Monster Hunter.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a whole lot of fun. And when I mentioned Beast World earlier, because I was looking back in a different chat, I think that is like a DM's Guild 5e supplement. So you should definitely check that out. And if it's good, maybe we'll talk about it here. But yeah, I love the concept. I love the idea of being able to um, harness the power of a 20-foot tall lava T-Rex.
To
Unlimited
make
potential there.
crazy weapons.
Absolutely. Specifically for making crazy weapons.
Oh, crazy weapons, crazy armor, crazy siege engines, just crazy everything. Who knows what alchemical properties the blood of an undiscovered lava T-Rex that can shoot fire from its eyes can do.
Great point.
Probably make a really good hot roast.
You harness all that energy and you put it into a sword, and you're like, yes, this is the sword of pot roast. It just makes like a really good pot roast.
Yes. It's kind of like there was a anime I was watching, and straight up the guy's got like vegetables, meats, all sorts of things, chopping them up, doing real fine stuff, and in the end it turns into a cream puff. None of the ingredients were necessary for a cream puff, and he came up with a cream puff.
That's amazing. That's amazing. How'd he do it? He must have been a warlock.
No, he has literally no magic. That is the point of the show. He is in a world where everyone has magic, and he doesn't have magic.
Gotcha. I think I know what you're talking about here, but in fear of straying too far from D&D and into anime, we should probably cut that there, you know.
It's somewhat reminiscent because he is a barbarian. He is a martial class in a world full of spellcasters.
You're talking about Black Clover, right?
No.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about, hold on, I need to find it, because I've actively been watching it, so shouldn't be too hard to find.
Mm-hmm.
Unless it's being a bitch.
It always is.
Which it is. Okay, we're gonna go. It's called Mashal.
Oh, I've never heard of that.
Yes, it's called Mashal, Magic and Muscles. It basically works out so hard that he can basically perform magic. He's just really, he is big strong.
Muscle wizard, cast fist.
Basically, that is what he does in every spell is cast fist. He can't fly, he casts kick really hard.
So he's basically just the Incredible Hulk.
Basically, with a bowl cut.
That's amazing. All right, I'll have to watch it.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Well,
it does just make me think of the disparity between martial classes and non-martial classes. And that's the most ridiculous thing I can think of involving them.
Yeah, well, and I don't know. I think it's balanced fairly well. Because, yeah, I mean, a 20th level fighter can't cast Wish. But also, they can attack you like 80 times in one turn.
Yeah.
I don't
actually know. I've been getting caught back up with one of the shows that I watch, High Rollers, and their Heroes campaign, which it looks like they're almost done, and that makes me very sad.
Yeah, well, I'm sure they'll do another one.
They are. Hilariously, it's a Dragonlance campaign.
Oh, good. Maybe you'll learn a thing or two about Dragonlance.
Yes, such as I'm not a very good DM. I know this.
Nah. You have the most unruly group of players ever. Literally every single one is just a chaos demon sent to ruin your day. We're not airing this last episode that we did because we kind of sat down and we're like, hey, what are we doing? And it was 20 minutes of,
Yeah,
of
it
trash.
was a bit of a mess.
But in that unaired episode, Ale told me about one of his players that decided to be a sentient being.
I love that character. That character is the sweetest character I have.
Okay, that character is the sweetest character you have. It's a living being.
Yes,
A 3-foot tall
a
being.
sentient being. Like you are a sentient being, or I am a sentient being. They just forgot the G.
No. That's not how you spell bean.
I know.
B-E-A-N, bean.
That is also their name, is
Like
Bean.
lima bean, kidney bean, pinto bean, beans. Yeah, not a being. Anyway, that's your nicest, most sweetest character.
So far, yes.
And that is so chaotic, and your players themselves are so chaotic. I know, I've played with them. I've run games for them. It's nuts. And I'm...
Yeah.
Whew,
And I love all of them.
I do too. They're all fantastic. But yeah, no wonder you have a little trouble DMing. That's all I have to say.
Yeah. But also, I mean, I did sort of get turned into a flesh portal in my own game that I play.
Yeah, shit happens. Games are weird, dude.
Yeah. It's not every day you become an Oblivion Gate, though.
That's true. That's true. Is that something you want to talk about right now?
I mean, I don't got much to say. My character went unconscious, sort of got possessed by this thing that lives in my character, and an aberration decided to hijack my body and use the thing inside me to open a interdimensional portal to where it was, so it could kill one of my members because it doesn't like their god.
Nice. That's one of the things I love about these role-playing games is, yeah, I mean, you look at Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition on the surface, and you immediately, especially like Dragonlance, you can think of like Lord of the Rings, like, oh, fantasy role-playing game, elves, dwarves, whatever. But literally anything you can think of is possible, and the rules are just there to facilitate the interactions. Like, it really doesn't matter what system you're playing, you can create anything. Even living meat portals, you know?
Oh yeah. Which, absolutely love the whole body horror element.
Yeah, speaking
Body
of...
horror,
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, body horror is terrifying and disgusting, and I love it so unbelievably much.
Yeah, I hate it. I am not a fan. Which also, like, been up to date with Critical Role. Matt Mercer's got a weird thing for, like, body horror. Like, the entire end of Campaign 2, and then even a little bit here in Campaign 3 with, like, the 5-headed wolf and shit. Like, oh, man. Like, where do you think of this?
It's awesome.
It's super
It's
cool.
so cool.
And you're like, well, shit, I don't want to fuck with that. But at the same time, it's like, are you okay, man? Who hurt you?
But, I mean, there is something so, again, terrifying about even trying to imagine something that messed up. And getting to see that on your players' faces is absolutely amazing.
I think that's a lot of it. I also think thematically it's the opposition of the natural order, right? So like there's big themes of religion, especially in this one. And there's a lot of like, hey, tradition, the way things have been. And I think it represents a perversion of that. And I think that kind of helps drive his point. But man, if it's not horrifying to just listen to him describe these things, it's like, oh my God.
But it's also in itself the antithesis of death. It's life that refuses to end.
True. True.
Because even with that fight they had at the end, it didn't stay dead. It just got a new form and got worse.
Yeah. This is a Critical Role podcast now, by the way. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, no, I get what you're saying there. And yeah, it works for his game, and I try to avoid that. But if it's thematic, and especially if I'm running like a Halloween one shot or something, I'll throw that in there. Something you might want to add to your game. There's like a new analog horror ARG thing on the internet called Vita Carnis. Have you heard of this?
I have not.
No, Film Theory game. One of the Theory channels, Matt Pat does like a cool.
Vita. I know Carnis means meat.
You can do this. Vita Carnis.
Like, VIDA or VITA?
VITA. Vita Carnis.
I'm guessing that means living meat.
Living meat. Yeah. So Film Theory does a pretty cool breakdown of the whole thing, or you can just like look it up and watch it. They have like these mini episodes, and then like they combine it all into one mega episode. But it's basically this horror artist who does like creature design and stuff thought it'd be fun to make this little mini series, and it's about this new organism that has just started coexisting on Earth. Right? You have like plants, animals, fungi, and now Vita Carnis. And at the lowest level, there's something called the crawl, which are like plant-like strains or vines of meat that you can actually eat. You can like clip them and like mix it up into your pasta and eat it. But then there's like little meat bugs that spawn from them. Probably my favorite, the meat snake.
Meat snake.
Meat snake.
It's just a fun thing to say.
Yeah, it sure is. Well, and
it sounds like the name of some sort of guy in a frat. Yo, what up, meat snake?
Well, it's way worse than that because it'll consume dead bodies, and they grow around 3 to 5 meters, but the biggest one was like 38 meters. And yeah, kind of nuts actually. There's mimics that look like humans in a way, and it just kind of like expounds from there, right? So I definitely recommend you check that out. I think that'll be right up your alley. But yeah, if you want to do...
I'm looking at them right now, and my God, this just basically looks like what if I gotta look it up.
I'll wait.
There it is. One of my favorite SCPs.
Oh yeah, which one?
SCP-610, The Flesh That Hates.
Yeah, it probably is.
It is terrifying to look at.
But yeah, go ahead and introduce some Vita Carnis in your home game. Just see what your players do.
I was going to shamelessly, back when I was doing my homebrew one that fell apart after literally one session because nobody wanted to play.
Dude, come on. It's so sad.
I had an entire section devoted to body horror. I had a whole bunch of body horror stuff. Like, we're talking things in the... I basically stole from one of my favorite creepypastas and was just going to put the whole thing in the campaign.
As a
because
note,
it's amazing.
To other DMs out there is no shame in stealing anything. Do what you like.
Shamelessly steal everything.
Just have fun. The point is having fun. So yeah, I don't care if I'm literally playing Lord of the Rings and there's an NPC called Legolas. I don't care. Like, if we're having fun, that's good. But yeah, no. Throw a meat snake at your players. See what happens.
Oh yeah. I cannot tell you how badly I want to meet an NPC named Legolas, and it's just like, no, that's just saying it with an accent. It's an elf ranger with no legs.
You can do that if you want. There's nothing stopping you from doing that.
Other than me feeling terrible for the legless elf, yeah.
Yeah, you could make that your character, and the whole point is about overcoming disability. And he just has a bow, and he's like on a wooden cart, and he just like he can't go upstairs, but he makes it work.
Oh
No,
yeah. Can't go upstairs, but he's got the most buff arms.
that's right. I think that would be fun.
It'd be messed up.
Yeah, a little bit. We also need to think of an outro for the show, like a good way to like wrap things up and end it. Because
duct tape.
At the end of each show, just say duct tape, and then fade to black.
Duct tape. Well, no, duct tape's good for sealing things together. We want to wrap stuff up. Maybe Saran wrap.
Saran wrap's not as sticky anymore. Had a lot of trouble with it. Is it rope?
You'd ask your child to, just go Saran wrap something, and next thing you know, you have a mummy for a child. True.
But no, we do the little intro. I think we should have like a little outro too, maybe. We're pretty new to the podcasting still. Maybe we need like intro chimes or something. I don't know. We'll figure it out. That's for a later date.
Yeah, it is. But also, while I have you here, and while we're recording this, I am going to send you a wonderful picture of the most horrifying Nicolas Cage I've ever seen.
Okay, I'm prepared.
Enjoy your terrifying Nicolas Cage.
Oh, fantastic.
It's just like, oh, that's a shadow demon.
Yeah, I don't think that's a broken printer. I'm pretty sure someone did that on purpose. Pretty sure that's an actual demon entering the soul of a printer.
I'm pretty sure that's just the spirit of the full Nick Cage.
Could be. For everyone listening, because there will not be actual video of this, it is a photo that says a friend's printer broke, and here's the result of him printing off a picture of Nicolas Cage. And it is like hyper contrasted. So his face is basically completely black, but you can see his teeth, the whites of his eyes, and a little bit of his hand, and it is horrifying. And it will probably haunt my dreams tonight. And go look it up.
You mean Nicolas Cage doesn't haunt your dreams every night?
He haunts your dreams every night?
I don't know. I actually have no idea what I dream about.
Fantastic. Well, anyway, on that note, I think we're going to wrap it up. I actually didn't mean for this to go so long, but I'm glad it is. We talked about some fun things, It
didn't feel long to me. This was actually just fun. I wasn't thinking about the time or keeping track of it. This was just fun.
Yeah, well, we're still not at a full hour yet, but I did just kind of want to touch base, say, hey, this is where we're kind of going, and we're not dead. We didn't just fall down a hole, and we didn't fall into a bag of holding and get stuck there for months at a time. And
no, we are definitely not corpses.
No, not yet. Eventually. I mean, if the internet truly does exist in perpetuity, and this is on Spotify for years after our death, maybe that statement was wrong. But you'll know, not us.
I don't know. Not if I become a lich.
There you go. All right. See y'all next time.
Well, take care, everybody.